Gamers all around the flat universe, we're about to check out the newest win rates with 16 civilizations. Warning, low sample size. Posting this on Reddit wouldn't be wise. That's why I'm not posting it on Reddit. I'm posting it on YouTube and Twitch. So let's look at the win rates. We're gonna look at overall any rank level first, and we got IObit at 57%, JD at 57%. Now, mainly what I'm going to focus on is the new civs, not the old ones, because I'm sure that the old ones will be more or less the same that we've had before, but we're going to be looking at the new civs specifically. So, IObit and Jeanne d'Arc with the highest win rate, Jushi's Legacy at 52% win rate, Japanese with 50%, OOTD 49.6%, and Byzantines with 40% win rate. That is a destruction. 11,000 games with Byzantines, 21,000 with Japanese, 10,000 with Jushi's Legacy, 9,000 almost with JD, 5,000 with IObit, and 8.2k with OOTD. So that's a bit wild. Now, I gotta say, looking at this is overall win rate, so this is any league. This to me makes sense so far. I think that Japanese are a mixed bag. Like, people either do really well with them or probably have no clue what they're doing. OOTD, I feel like it's not that complicated, so I didn't think it would be like 80% win rate, but I didn't think it would be, 20 either. Byzantines, I mean, I've said this even before the game got released. I said that it's the hardest civ to play, and being overall lowest together with China makes sense. Makes sense. IObit, I mean, IObit is just wild. The Gamba wing is wild, and seeing it this high doesn't surprise me, and also seeing JD this high doesn't surprise me, because once people know how to play against JD, they will, the win rate will drop off quite significantly. Now, I think what a lot of people are doing, they're still fighting JD in feudal, and they're feeding the hero with XP, and then hero hits level 3 in feudal, and then it's a destruction. So you're supposed to not fight against JD in feudal, preferably go with multiple TCs or AJAP or something, but not fight in feudal and not give hero level 3. Let's look at gold. No, not a golden above. Let's look at Gold League. That's where most of the Twitch chat is. I meant most player bases almost. Gold and Plat, I guess, is the most. And here you can see IObids. They're holding their win rates on the bottom. Byzantines are actually 40%. We're almost seeing identical win rates in Gold League to what we just saw regarding the new civs. OTD has slightly lower win rate, and then the other ones have almost identical to this. So, interesting. Platinum. In Platinum, we see Ottoman with 59% with 269 games. I guarantee you that's some one-trick pony that's just denting in people left and right. Meanwhile, JD win rate increases, not decreases. Even more, IObits dropped a little bit. Jushi's Legacy dropped a little bit. Japanese and OOTD dropped quite a bit, actually. And Byzantines is actually even lower at 38.8%. Now, I don't think that Byzantines is bad, I will say that. I actually played a tournament game against B today, and he played French and I played Byzantines, and I actually won that game in feudal with Byzantines. So I don't think Byzantines are bad. I think they are just very hard and very complicated, but once people catch on how to play, what to do, I think their win rate will improve. But it is a hard civ, and I don't think it's going to have a good win rate in low leagues. Diamond League. Abbasid. Now this is where obviously we have not many games played. Like you can see, Abbasid only has 59 games played. So I'm not going to be like, yeah, Abbasid is OP. It's 59 games. We're going to look at the new civs, which are probably going to have the most games played. We have JD with 62.3% win rate. We see IObit with 56%. And then Jushi's Legacy here falls off quite a bit at 48. So it's under 50 OTD, hovering around that mark again. Japanese is falling more, and then Byzantines is still holding on to 38%. And yeah, I mean, I would imagine that it's the same thing in Conqueror, except I would say Jushi's Legacy in Conqueror probably goes up in win rate, and Byzantines probably goes up in win rate. I don't know how much, but that's my guess. Conqueror, JD at 62%, IObit is at 54% actually. Japanese is at 48. Jushi actually drops to 44. I'm surprised about that. Byzantines does go up like a lot. Well, a lot, like 3%. And then OOTD tanks quite hard. Now, why do I think that these are the win rates, and why do I think... Do we have Conqueror 4? Yeah, we do. Conqueror 4, not a lot of games played, as you can see. Not a lot of games played. Wow, I'm very surprised that Jushi's Legacy is doing this poorly. Now, why are the win rates like this? What's happening? And so on and so forth. Well, in my opinion, JD having highest win rate makes sense as of right now, and there are a few reasons for it. Like I said earlier, people don't know how to deal with JD right now. They are fighting her in feudal, they're feeding her XP, and the hero is broken. Like if you get level 3 hero at feudal age, that's just a destruction. So I think that if you're not aware of that, if you don't know how to play against JD, you will be losing a lot of games, and you're going to lose the games pretty badly. IObit right now, in my experience of playing against them, everyone or most people are going with the Gamba Wing, which is, in my opinion, OP, and it should be nerfed, it should be changed. And IObit is played a lot on the hybrid maps, and it's absolutely bonkers on those maps. I don't think that IObit is like necessarily overpowered because it has weaknesses, but the stuff that it can do is actually really, really strong. I think water maps probably buff its win rate quite a bit. Now, Jushi's Legacy, so this is gold and above, by the way. I put gold and above right now. Jushi's Legacy having lower win rate in Conqueror and Conqueror 4 surprises me, because Jushi's Legacy is like a different kind of China, but it's also a bit easier type of China to play because your food is easier to transition to with the farms. So I'm a bit surprised that it has lower win rate the higher you go. But it is cool that Jushi's Legacy is, I guess, easier version of China, so more lower league players are going to be able to play it. There are no water maps. What about Canal, Rocky Canyon, Himayama, Golden Heights? So I'm a bit surprised about Jushi's Legacy. Japanese, I'm actually surprised that it's not lower. The reason why I'm surprised that it's not lower is because Japanese is very not explored still. People are figuring out new things to do and new builds to do. There's so many different playstyles. Like people are trying castle rushes, people are trying 2 TC, people are trying 1 TC, people are trying not mining gold, only stone. So my point is, I'm surprised that it's not lower, not because Japanese is bad, but because there's so many different like builds going around, and people are just trying a lot of stuff with the Japanese on the ladder. Whereas, you know, with like JD or IObits, people kind of already know what they want and they're already doing the same thing over and over. But Japanese people are playing it very experimental, and it still is around 50% win rate, which means, in my opinion, once Japanese gets figured out or people find the most optimal builds to play, that the win rate will probably increase. OOTD. Now, there's been a lot of discussion about OOTD. I get asked in the chat every day, is OOTD the worst civ in the game? Do they suck? Are they this? Are they that? I personally like playing OOTD. There was a tournament recently that was basically the opponent picks a civ for you, and all my opponents picked OOTD for me, and I think I won every single game with them. I do think they're not the same as HRE, but they have a lot of similarities. And I personally think it's not a bad civ at all. Do I think it's OP? Obviously not. But do I think it's the worst civ? No, not even close. So I think people still need to figure out how to play it properly, adjust you know, what they're doing, because a lot of people are trying to play it like HRE, and that's not how it works. And then last but not least, we got Byzantines. I kind of touched up on Byzantines already, but the longer the time passes, Byzantines win rate will improve. Now, in lower leagues, I'm not sure how much it's going to improve, because there's a lot of stuff you need to do. There's a cistern placement. You need to connect them with aqueducts. There's the oil you gotta use. So I think Byzantines in its current form, which I'm sure it's going to remain this way, will probably just be too hard to play for most you know, lower league players like gold or plat or silver or gold or bronze. So I don't expect it ever to get their win rate increased there, kind of like China. I mean, maybe it's going to increase from 40 to 45, but it's never going to be like 55%. And then I think in higher leagues, in Conqueror, I think we will see slow and steady increase of the win rates, and people doing better and better with it once we kind of figure out how to play it more and more, because Japanese and Byzantines have the most to figure out, because they have a lot of unique mechanics. They have a lot of new stuff, new units, and you know, it takes some time to just see what's going on, which unit comps do I want to go for, you know, which mercenaries are the best in which matchup, and so on and so forth. But it's pretty interesting to see. And I think on the other side you have JD. That's very straightforward, right? You can make Knight Archer, and then you take the hero and you just go ahead and bash your opponent. The only new thing, you can play it like the old French. That's not the best way to play it, but you can play it like the old French. And if you do play it like the old French, you will still get really good win rates, which is why I think currently it's doing so well. So that's kind of my thoughts on the win rates. We'll see what happens in the future, and it's going to be pretty hard to keep track of all these matchups. There's 16 civs and there's so many matchups that playing the future tournaments is going to be really, really interesting, where we might not even know what the best style for every matchup is, just because of the sheer amount of matchups and sheer amount of potential like unit comps and counters and everything else. If you're watching this on YouTube, I want to thank you so much for watching. Check me out on Twitch. We're probably live right now. We got a new shade of green on the head, and soon it's going to be something else. Thank you, YouTube gamers, Twitch gamers. Let's keep going.